Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Life has been keeping me very busy, but I promise you, all things considered, I'm doing fantastic. Now, I know it's been well over a month since I've seen Wes Anderson's latest film, Asteroid City, in the cinema. Incidentally, that week upon returning from my adventurous Euro trip, I started to catch up on films that I've been missing out in the cinema during my time away. And within a week's time, I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Past Lives, and ending the week with Asteroid City. And man, what a film to finish that week with. Even several weeks later, this film is still at the forefront of my mind in many ways. For the uninitiated, Wes Anderson has to be one of the most unique filmmakers working today. His style is so potent and recognizable, you could show me a few frames of any of his films and I'd be instantly able to recognize that it is his craft. That is something only very few filmmakers can take credit for. Whether it's the Royal Tenenbaums, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, or even his previous film, The French Dispatch, which there's a lot I like about, but I do think was a bit hit or miss in some aspects. In any case, they're also colorful, quirky, and detailed like no other films out there. But more than anything, it's the dense rhythmic choreography of his scenes, even with something as mundane as a waiter preparing a tray and bringing it to his clients several floors up, that makes his film such a thrill ride to experience. It is a potent combination that makes Wes Anderson one of the most singularly gifted filmmakers working today. Though by that same token, it is rather split in the middle on people's appreciation of his work. You either love it or you hate it. It's very rare that I meet people who are kind of in between. So if none of the Wes Anderson films previously managed to capture your attention, or you weren't a fan of them, then stay away from Asteroid City because it is Wes Anderson flavor on steroids. It seems with each new film, he goes deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of his own peculiar vision, maximizing exponentially more on his unique brand of quirkiness. I don't really know how that's possible. A few years ago, I thought that, with Grand Budapest Hotel, that would have been the cap limit of what he was able to do of his vision. And yet here we are today with Asteroid City, a film that makes that film looks tame in comparison. Before going any further, I'll try to give as brief a synopsis as possible, which is easier said than done, mind you. To be honest, it gave me a bit of a headache to try and piece this story together in as simple of a manner as possible. It seems with each article I would read, just to out of curiosity brush up on what people thought the film's synopsis would be, I would get pretty varying results. Anyways, I digress as usual. Where to begin? The film is presented as this old black and white TV show about a theater play which kind of mirrors the life of actors acting behind the scenes of their film production of the film Asteroid City, which is that beautiful, colorful film we're all so curious to see that we've seen in trailers. As you can see, it's all very meta and self-aware, and the film has no shortage of examples of reminding you of that. In any case, the actual story happens in this desert town of Asteroid City in the year 1955, where everyone, and I do mean everyone, ends up arriving there either by accident or by purpose of having their kids participate in a junior stargazing space cadet convention, which is such a Wes Anderson thing to do. Fortunately, everyone ends up staying there for much longer than initially anticipated. And while trapped in this desert town, everyone kind of has to make do with their current situation and get to know themselves and others in this very quirky adventure. I think that about sums it up without going too much into spoiler territory. Yeah, it's not an easy film to summarize in as brief a manner as possible. There's just so much going on in it. Now, I did briefly allude to the fact that there's a massive ensemble cast in this film. Already there have been a handful of films that have come out that had giant A-list casts. Look no further than last week with Barbie and Oppenheimer. But even so, I think Asteroid City takes the cake in that regard. I think it would be more apropos to ask who isn't in this film. My god, we have Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Lee Schreiber, Rupert Friend, Maya Hawke, Steve Carell, Matt Dillon, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Margot Robbie, Tony Revolori, Jack Ryan, and even Jeff Goldblum in a hilarious off-screen moment, which I will not spoil. I won't go into intricate detail on each of the roles and what they did because this review will be never ending and that will kind of rob you the surprise of actually experiencing the films for yourselves. Suffice it to say, no matter how small some of the roles indeed may be, they're all beautifully executed and are loaded with laughs brought on by their peculiar eccentricities, whether it be by their character or in the crazy context they're in. I really have to take off my hat to the whole cast because they fully buy into their characters no matter how preposterous the situation may be. They embrace it completely. On top of that, there's several moments where an actor has to deliver a dense, and I do mean dense monologue that feels like it's fast forwarded at like times 1.25 or 1.5 speed. Even though I know that that isn't actually the case, that's how it felt like it. Look no further than Jeffrey Wright's speech, easily one of the biggest highlights in the film. Yeah, just that one scene, by the end, I felt completely winded after this relatively brief moment on screen. And the film is just chock full with them. Another brilliant example comes from those Quicksilver thinking, stargazing cadets who entertain themselves with these never ending memory games, which get longer and more complex with every round. Frankly, it's a bit dizzying. I am continually floored by the showmanship and performances of literally everyone on screen. Which is a perfect segue into my next point. Asteroid City can be an overwhelming film to process. It feels like I watched 5 hours of the film super compacted into a relatively short 1 hour 40-minute runtime film. I don't know how they did it, but it works. Every frame is just loaded with visual detail paired with those dense dialogues that I just spent a moment talking about. And as far as the visual aspect of the film goes, I think the film's art direction is nothing short of phenomenal. The set decorations are incredibly intricate and layered. Nearly every frame of the film could be paused to just study at length. Perhaps one of my favorite moments in the film is found early on, where we're actually introduced to the ghost town of Asteroid City, where we have these beautiful establishing shots, one after another, literally, with these classic Wes Anderson style whip pans, where we jump from one area to the next, to the next, to the next, and each of these frames are incredible visual compositions. Once again, you can pause them and just study them at length. It truly is stunning. I'm at a loss for words. And add on top the lovely costume design, which are varied, detailed, and colorful. And indeed, the colors in Asteroid City give the film this very mesmerizing and fairy tale-like feeling. It all adds up in this one glorious, breathtaking package deal. What more can I say about this film without going too much into spoiler territory? Essentially, it is a hilarious, I was laughing for much of the film, and bewildering film-going experience that just shoots off in every direction at the same time. Of course, it doesn't mean for me to enjoy a film that has to be complex and just overwhelming with information. Just look at my Past Lives video, which was a very sober and simplistic film. But there's no denying that in this film, Asteroid City, there is a preposterous, and I do mean bold, italicized, double underlined, preposterous moment at every corner of this film. Sometimes even several moments within a single scene are just worthy of entire subplots in of themselves. Even several weeks after viewing this film in cinema, there are so many moments that just stick out in my mind so vividly. For example, I think of that one scene where there's a two-way conversation on a phone. The screen is split in two. On one side, we have Tom Hanks, who has his life going on in the background. And then we have the other side with Jason Schwartzman, who's on the phone, his family over there, their car that's broken down that they can't fix. And at the same time, there's a police car chase, gunshots going off, and they're just speeding by. All of these things happening at the same time within a fraction of one scene. And if you're thinking to yourself, this is kind of overwhelming, well, the truth is it is, and you kind of just have to get used to it and roll with the punches. Honestly, everything related to Jason Schwartzman's family in this film is a riot. I'm never going to forget that moment where he openly admits to his son that he genuinely considered abandoning him and his children after his wife passed away, which, by the way, he kept secret for like 3 weeks. And his son just calmly accepts this and is like, yeah, I get it. That's fine. I forgive you. As if it was no big deal. In my head, I'm just like, hold on, pause the film. What is going on here? This is a huge, huge red flag that you can't just like throw under the rug. And yet here we are immediately thrown onto yet another preposterous scene after another, and yet another. It is non-stop. They come a dime a dozen in Asteroid City. Yeah, there's no shortage of these kind of head scratchers that, once again, in of themselves are an entire galaxy of red flags and just like, what? So much so that even a nuclear bomb going off in the not too far distance is a comparatively mundane event in this film. So yeah, Asteroid City is a whirlwind of a film-going experience that probably won't be everyone's cup of tea. Chances are many people will just be too confused to make heads or tails of this film, and to be fair, I understand. There's a lovely moment later on in the film where Jason Schwartzman literally walks off the film stage onto the black and white theater stage and calculates that he's got roughly 6 minutes left before he has to go back on stage for his next scene in the film, and he walks off to have a heart-to-heart with Adrian Brody of all people, where he kind of confesses that he has no idea what's going on and he doesn't understand the story. And at that moment in the theater, I was thinking to myself, you and me both, brother. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm along for the Wes Anderson ride yet again. I just love how self-aware this film is. It is constantly breaking the fourth wall in some of the most creative and unique ways I've seen film do in a long time, really. And indeed, I think that is the key word with this film: creativity. It is so unique and shamelessly itself, unlike so many copy-paste formulas you'll see on the big screen nowadays. This might not be up everyone's alley, which is understandable, but for my part, I think this is quickly becoming one of my favorite Wes Anderson films thus far, and that is no small feat. What a ride! I'm gonna give Asteroid City a 9 out of 10. I'm definitely late to the party with this film review, like it's like a month and a half late, but no matter, I don't care how late I am, I just had to come on here and just spew my love of this film to you guys because I think it's just that good. This meteor strike is going to be a landmark achievement for cinema in 2023. Mark my words. And to make things even more interesting, it seems Wes Anderson isn't quite done putting out content in the year of 2023. Sometime later this year, there's still no specific release date. It seems that we'll be getting The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar that will be released on Netflix. Initially, I assumed it would be yet another full-length feature film, but it seems it will be a 37-minute short film. No matter, that still seems very exciting, especially to see Wes Anderson adapting a Roald Dahl novel of all things into a film adaptation. And add on top, there's a bunch of fantastic A-list actors such as Benedict Cumberbatch, Ralph Fiennes, Dev Patel, and Ben Kingsley, just to name a few. And finally, once again, what an epic week at the cinema! Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Past Lives, and Asteroid City. Woo! What a triple strike! This reminds me of that time last year in 2022 when we had Decision to Leave, Tar, and The Banshees of Inisherin come out all within a week of each other. I wonder when we'll get another 3-film release knockout worthy of these in the future. I'll let you know whenever that time comes. Alright, that's enough for now. I got plenty of other things to do in life right now, so I'm gonna get to that. So with all that being said, as always, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Always. Take care, and I'll talk to you as soon as I can.